Hi, it's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life, and today I'm doing a video that I have been resisting for quite some time. It's about how alcohol affects your hormones, your mood, your sleep, your weight, and a whole lot more, and what you can do to minimize the damage. So I've been resisting this for quite some time because I love my wine. I am a drinker, I admit it. Not heavy drinker at all. I'm very moderate these days, especially because I'm a bit older now. But I do love my wine, and I have in the past I've focused on all the good things, the studies that say that moderate drinking is okay, and kind of just ignoring all the studies that say that it's not okay. But a massive study came out today, and it's probably all over the news, that it really isn't okay, and the safest amount of alcohol, they say, is none, which isn't great news for us wine lovers. However, I'm going to still focus on some of the positives, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to get rid of it completely in my life. But there are things you can do, and I'll focus on those in a second, to minimize any kind of damage or risk. In reality, there really isn't much on the positive side of drinking. There is no silver lining on this one, even though I've looked hard for it, especially for women over 40. Now, alcohol and hormones really do not mix very well. And as we're going through hormone fluctuations after 40, this is just going to make it worse. As you might have noticed, your liver might not be working so well these days. And you might have gut issues or other health conditions that are also making it quite tricky. And it's likely that alcohol is going to be affecting your sleep, your weight, your mood, your energy levels, and your brain function, among other things. And unfortunately, it's going to be increasing our risk of more serious health conditions, especially breast cancer for us women. So let's have a little look at some of the links that we can explain what's going on. So first one is weight. Why does alcohol increase our chances of putting on weight? Well, it's not just the kind of empty calories that people talk about. It's a bit more complex than that. It's actually affecting our biochemistry. So alcohol messes with your blood sugar, and that means it can cause energy slumps, mood swings, and sugar and carb cravings especially. Now, we know that alcohol kind of destroys your willpower, doesn't it? So you know that feeling, you get the munchies, all you want is a whole load of carbs and sugar, and there's no resistance at all, is there? So that's another thing. Now, it slows down your metabolism as well, so it keeps you in this fat storing mode all the time. It also reduces your fat burning hormones like growth hormone and testosterone. So a whole load of stuff going on that's making us increase weight gain. The second thing we know about alcohol is it affects your mood and how you feel about stress. So after that initial happy feeling of when you've had a few drinks, alcohol can actually lower your serotonin levels. These are your happy hormones, so leaving you prone to low mood and depression. And the thing that a lot of women use alcohol for, to de-stress, it's ironic because actually alcohol can raise your stress hormone cortisol. So that can make you more anxious and feelings of overwhelmed and wiredness in the long run. Alcohol can also lower testosterone, so that can affect your libido, your motivation, your drive, and your sense of well-being overall. Alcohol, we know, affects our sleep. So it can help you fall asleep initially, but then, having an evening drink can actually reduce your deep sleep through the night. And it can also wake you up in the night, as we know. If anyone's had a few drinks in the evening and you wake up ping at 3 a.m., that can be caused by low blood sugar, because alcohol is messing with your blood sugar, or dehydration, or both. Both of which will raise stress on the body and raise cortisol. Cortisol is your wake-up hormone, so that's why you're waking up. So not only less quality sleep, but this interrupted sleep as well. The next thing we need to look at is your liver. Now, your liver is probably already struggling in midlife with all the toxins that we have around us, plus the hormones that we need to detoxify on a daily basis. So it's already, under some pressure, shall we say. Now, if you're drinking alcohol as well, alcohol produces something called acetaldehyde, which needs to be detoxified quickly, or you get that hangover. It can result in headaches, nausea, brain fog, and fatigue, the typical symptoms of a hangover. And that's just this excess of acetaldehyde that your liver is not detoxifying very well. On top of that, your liver's, while it's trying to deal with the alcohol, it might have to sacrifice some other detoxifying stuff going on. So your chemicals and your environmental stuff, waste stuff, or your own hormones, and that includes your estrogen. And that just means that if your liver's not detoxifying your estrogen enough, then you've got too much estrogen circulating, and too much estrogen can cause symptoms of PMS, heavy or painful periods, bloating, headaches, and of course has an increased risk of breast and ovarian cancers. Fifth thing that alcohol does is affect your gut health. So alcohol can damage the cells in the lining of your gut. And this can increase inflammation in the gut. It can increase your risk of leaky gut, which can lead to autoimmune conditions. It can also alter the way you're absorbing your nutrients. So if alcohol has this effect of reducing your production of enzymes and gastric secretions that help you absorb your nutrients and digest your food. So if that's not happening, you can be nutrient deficient. And also, if you already have a gut infection going on, which many of us do because of long antibiotic use and poor diets and all the rest of it and stress, it can have an increased impact if you're drinking, especially with candida. Now, many of us are going around with underlying candida infections from long-term antibiotic use, things like that. But candida also produce acetaldehyde, which is why if you have a candida infection, you often feel like you have a hangover even though you haven't had a drink. So you can wake up feeling really groggy, and that's this effect of acetaldehyde. So it's a bit like having a hangover without the drink. But if you're drinking on top of that as well, it just makes all the effects even worse. And lastly, alcohol has an impact on your bones. We know that alcohol can lead to bone loss because it inhibits something called osteoblasts. They are bone building cells. It also can alter things that your bones need, like vitamin D, testosterone, and cortisol. They all have an impact on bone health. So if you already have a hormone imbalance, you already have a gut issue, you already have an autoimmune condition or a nutrient deficiency, then alcohol is not going to be your friend. I'm sorry, it just isn't. So it doesn't mean you have to give up completely, although obviously that's ideal, but it's really hard in this society to do that, especially in the UK. If you can give up, that's amazing. But if you can't, then my tips for keeping alcohol as safe as possible. First of all, always have food with your alcohol. So never ever drink on an empty stomach, because that can massively increase the impact it has. Secondly, choose wine over things like cocktails or spirits with sugary mixers, and don't swap the sugary mixer for a diet mixer, because that's got even worse impact on your gut health and your insulin. So red wine is probably best. You tend to drink a bit less of it, and it's got some antioxidants in it. Although red wine is not great if you're histamine intolerant. If you have a lot of allergies, then that might be not good for you. Thirdly, always stay massively hydrated. So drink water before, during, and after alcohol, and that will lessen the effect. Fourthly, have alcohol-free days during the week, so as many as possible. So I try and do Monday to Thursday. If you're going out, then obviously be flexible about it, but try and do that to give your liver a bit of a break. Take a longer break as often as you can. So do dry January, or do a month where you don't have anything, or a few weeks at a time, whatever you can manage. Choose quality over quantity. So always have a better glass of wine, or choose a better quality over the numbers, and really, really enjoy it. If you do want a glass, ask yourself first of all, do you really want this, or is it just a habit? And if you really do want it, enjoy it and don't feel guilty. So just make it part of your rewards or treats or whatever. Don't drink at night if you don't sleep well, or if you want to wake up with a hangover. If you know drink affects you, then obviously cut back wherever you possibly can. Alcohol cravings can also happen when your blood sugar's low. So mine always happen just as I'm starting to cook dinner. So I'm hungry. So instead, I've really tried recently to have a large glass of water and just a handful of nuts, and that seems to get control of the craving. And as soon as the craving's gone, it seems fine. So that's a good one to think about. Have something to eat that's healthy, that will rebalance your blood sugar, and then maybe the craving will disappear. Eat lots of cruciferous vegetables. Now these are your broccolis, your cauliflowers, your cabbage, rocket, watercress, that kind of stuff, Brussels sprouts, because they have a really good compound in them that helps to detoxify your estrogen. So if you've got a lot of estrogen running around, that's a really good one, and it helps your liver. The other thing to do is take a good multivitamin with good levels of the active B vitamins. Now, you're not going to get that from Holland and Barrett generally, or Boots or whatever, or a supermarket. You need to be looking for good brands with active levels of the vitamins, especially B vitamins, because B vitamins are often depleted by alcohol. Also really helpful is like a liver formula with milk thistle. N-acetylcysteine is a really good one for the liver as well, and there's lots of other liver helpers. If you suspect you have candida, don't drink alcohol. Get help to get rid of the infection first, and we can help you with that. Just email Nikki@happyhormonesforlife.com, and we can talk to you about how to get rid of the infection. If you found this video useful, please comment, please share, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll see you again soon.